Hello everyone, you're watching the Dragon Ball Legends Ultra Space-Time shows as Stuff. Kuroken here, and I'll be your host for today's show. We've collected a ton of interesting questions from you, the Dragon Ball players, and today we'll be answering them here. And of course, we'll have Dragon Ball Legends game producer TOSHI as our guest to respond to all your questions. TOSHI.
Hello everybody, my name is TOSHI. I'm the producer of Dragon Ball Legends and I'm very excited to be here today.
As a representative of the dev team, TOSHI will be answering even the sharpest questions that you may have.
I genuinely do not want to, but for the sake of everybody watching this, I'll try my best.
And one more special guest is here with us. Let's see who it is.
Let's do this! I'm game!
Is that who I think it is?
I think so, I hope so.
Hi, how's it going, everybody? I'm Alejandro Saab. I'm the voice of Shallot in Dragon Ball Legends. Nice to meet you guys.
What a surprise. Alejandro's joining us in this Q&A session as a special guest. TOSHI, it looks like we'll be able to hear Shallot's voice live all day today.
Oh, that's awesome.
I have a question for Alejandro. What are your thoughts on the character Shallot?
I love Shallot. I know, of course, I'm biased, but
Maybe just a bit.
Yeah, but I'm a real big fan of Shallot and learning more about his history, especially with Giblet. As each book and chapter comes out, it's really cool learning all of that and seeing little hints of things. And I'm like, is that what's happening? Wait, please. Because at heart, I'm a Dragon Ball fan, and getting to be Shallot is insane.
Today, Alejandro will represent the players and throw all of the tough questions at TOSHI. So, are you ready?
I'm paid to say yes.
How about you, Alejandro?
Leave it to me. There you go.
There we go. So we have received as many as 1,700 questions this time. Do you think you can handle them all, TOSHI?
No, dear God, no, not all. That would be crazy. But I will tell you guys that the development team, myself included, we literally went through all 1,700 freaking questions. We looked through them all, read them, and yes, I'll be honest, we kind of did cherry pick them for what to answer today, but we're gonna be as genuine as possible today.
I can't wait to see what kind of questions we're going to have asked today. Perhaps we'll get to hear some inside stories that are only known to the management team, the dev team, maybe even to the voice actors, and there might be some all-new information that has yet to be revealed to the players. All right, with that, let's go ahead and start the Q&A time with Alejandro and TOSHI. So Alejandro, please give us the first question of the day.
Ask stuff. All right, the first question of many. There have been a lot of changes, updates, improvements over the last few months. Thank you for that. Seriously, the loading time is amazing.
Oh, thank God.
But it seems like there's still a lot in the works. What's the biggest update you've got in store for Legends in the future? And when can we expect it to go live?
All right, well, that's one tough question that you brought up immediately. Honestly, unfortunately, even though this is literally the first question, I can't give you a straight answer because we don't know all the time yet either. We have many plans that we want to do, and then there's many plans that we have to do coming up, and some of which changes the order of others. Priorities keep changing. So I'm gonna have to tell you that some of the QL updates, the quality of life related updates, are definitely coming, and something that will hopefully change your experience in Dragon Ball Legends is coming as well. But I'm just gonna have to say I can't tell you when.
Is there a certain update that you remember very fondly? I know there's been quite a few updates, but is there one in particular that you really love?
I have actually two updates that I specifically, personally really like. One of which Alejandro mentioned earlier was the loading speed up, that it actually took quite a bit of time for the team to put into fruition, but I hope you guys literally feel the difference now with how much faster the game loads, how much faster everything moves on. And the second one that I personally like is the mission plan. I hope you guys are doing it as well, but that's something of a steady stream of chrono crystals that you guys can keep acquiring, and also it lets you choose the play style of how you want to do it. Some people, honestly, even in our team, chooses the casual style where you don't have to constantly just keep playing every day. You can just occasionally do the maximum 10 stamina skip tickets and such. And me personally, I'm always choosing the PvP route, even though I'm not that good at it. But it's a constant stream of chrono crystals, and it lets you choose your playstyle.
All right, so let's move on to the next question. Alejandro, would you please?
Ask stuff. How do you go about making the introduction videos for new characters? Is it actually people playing, or is it all programmed? Like, how does that all?
So that is actually all recorded by one of our management team, developing team. And it is not programmed, it's not scripted. It is something done manually per character because we all know every character has its own value, has their own moment. And also you can kind of tell, right, that certain characters have their own special lines, special things that we have in store, sort of Easter eggs for every character. So we want to show those off in those introduction videos. That one member in our team is working on every video on his own. He shows his love for those characters and he makes those special edits on his own.
Ask stuff! Okay, this one's really interesting. How long does it approximately take to develop 1 or 2 new characters? Since you guys do kind of come out with them frequently, so it's really interesting to know.
On average, or rather minimum, it takes at least 3 to 4 months to develop one character. Minimum. It depends, obviously, depending on the character we're talking about. Some of the characters, for example, the new Goku, the Ultra Instinct Sign Goku, that one took a lot longer than all the average characters in development, mainly because, for one thing, he has his own unique ability, the unique gauge, that lets him just literally dodge strike attacks, blast attacks, and you don't have to touch the screen at all. That's another thing. And also his ultimate move. I'm pretty sure you saw the legendary finish effect, but we put a lot of effort into making that a reality. Development team is very fond of that character to begin with, obviously, and we wanted to make sure that everybody could keep up with the hype and realize that character's full potential. You saw how awesome moment that he dodges all the attacks, he's diving into the enemy, and you could tell that you could see the shadows of him moving around. That's a special effect for him specifically as well. And honestly, we'd like to think, even though it's a smartphone app, that it's really high level quality. And whenever we see comments saying, is this really a smartphone game, or whenever we see people slightly confused, we really like to take that as a compliment.
Ask stuff! Does the development team have a thing for Nappa? Because I gotta say, that the story did make me love Nappa. Mm-hmm. I was not a fan of Nappa, but wow, the story turned me around.
We have a dedicated team for the scenario of Dragon Ball Legends, and one of the leaders is very fond of that character. He likes those early the scenes that appeared in the early days, one of which is definitely Nappa. And I wouldn't say he has a thing for it, but he wanted to make sure that everybody understood his character a lot better, and definitely felt that the chemistry he had with Shallot is something very unique to Dragon Ball Legends, and we definitely saw those comments real time when we first released the story, and we were really happy to see those positive comments on it as well.
And of course, with that, we also have the many different forms of Nappa that have appeared in the game. We have Nappa the Cruel, we got Zenkai Nappa, and we even have the Elite Soldier, and if I recall correctly, Nappa with hair, which was amazing to see. Alejandro, what do you think of Nappa?
Like I said, when I was first introduced to Nappa when I was a kid, I didn't like him. Well, he beat up one of my favorite characters, which is Krillin. But with the story with Shallot and that unfolding, that like teacher, that Nappa just kind of adopts Shallot, I was like, what? What? And I think what really solidified it, because there were moments where I'm like, okay, Nappa, I get it. You're being a little pushy, but that moment when he's facing off against the Ginyu Force, so then Shallot can go help Vegeta, that was such a good moment. And then later on, he comes back in this very big climactic moment where everyone's like, "Help Shallot!" And I'm always like, "What is happening? This is so cool." It was really, I love his rendition of Nappa. Ask stuff. How long are you planning for this story to be? Are we getting close to the end? Or do we still have a way to go?
We haven't decided is the answer, first off.
Great!
Mainly because we have a vision, a story that we want to tell with Shallot, but a lot of the minor details are actually still yet to be filled in. We're kind of working as we move on, and also there's all these new things that we want to try out as well. And not to mention that I don't want to say this plainly, but there's some of us that doesn't want to end it. And also, not just that, but Shallot has his own unique system where he can transform. And as you progress with the story, you get more forms. Right now, you can turn into Super Saiyan God. Right now. If we have any plans or not, we have no idea as well for any future endeavors, but we want to say that Shallot and Giblet's story has a sort of, I wouldn't say definitive end, that we have a vision that we want for them to realize, but it's still yet to come, and there's still more to go.
Ask stuff!
So how much creative liberty do you have when it comes to this story? Like, are you able to change the personalities of, like, the Legends original characters, or add elements that veer away from the main series? You know, let's say Hit was going to join the story. Would you be able to make a unique storyline for him that only exists in Legends, or is that, like,
We do have a bit of creative liberty, like you mentioned earlier, but we can't deviate too far, not just because there's rules or anything, but because we want to make sure that everybody can enjoy it. You know, there's that vague line probably somewhere where people are comfortable with what we do with the characters, and then people start thinking that shouldn't have happened, or why is that character doing so and so. And honestly, it's really hard to pinpoint a really set rule for that. So in that sense, we're always experimenting. That's why we have that vision that I told you earlier, where we have the sort of vague idea of where we want to bring in the story, but the details, how it goes up to that point, is not set in stone all the time. And we have not just us, but all these other teams working with us as well, giving us feedback. And we definitely look at everybody's direct feedback online as well. We have all these positive feedbacks regarding Shallot as well. And then there's always that one feedback that's not necessarily negative, but people telling us that they wanted to see certain things play out differently. So we try to look at things in multiple angles, and we try to make sure that there's no rule that binds us. And actually, everybody's very cooperative in that sense.
Ask stuff!
What do you think about current limit break mechanics and Zenkai Awakening?
Genuinely speaking, I have my opinions, one of which is, in terms of the limit breaking, I still believe that what we did was the right course. There are lots of opinions about it, I understand, and I understand the sentiments of certain players, certain play styles, but at the end of the day, before that, prior to that change, especially when you were summoning, especially when you acquired those characters, it felt like the next upgrade was too far apart, and it didn't feel like it was very rewarding when you were summoning for that character. And not just that, but the gap between each upgrade felt too great. So at the end of the day, what we felt was necessary has been achieved in this method. We made that change knowingly, and one thing that if we were to do something similar in the future, we definitely have to be careful of is we didn't give anybody a heads up. We didn't have information prior to that change, even though it was a massive one of which influenced like the power levels in games. So I definitely remember like the feedback saying, why is this character's power level higher than this character? And numerically speaking, I totally understand that sentiment. I would definitely, like personally speaking, appreciate having my favorite character having a higher level than that of something else. So that sentiment, I would like to apologize for giving you guys like a roller coaster of a ride. But functionally speaking, I still stand by firmly that it was a necessary change. Zenkai Awakening, now that's an entirely different story. That is something that we're constantly working on. You guys actually, I hope, noticed, but like the environment itself is constantly changing, and certain ways of acquiring those characters are always changing. Like recently speaking, we added like the daily summons for the old Zenkai Awakening characters. You can summon it daily with 20 stones. We feel that's another step forward in providing easier way of acquiring those characters. And also we, just another big overhaul we made was just genuinely lowering the required number of stones for awakening characters. And we're definitely, I'm gonna say it outright, we're not comfortable with where we are right now in many senses. So it will keep changing, but we still feel that what we made, that difference is moving towards something positive.
Ask stuff.
With that, I think we have another question that's a little bit more on the technical side.
Techniques like charge stepping and step combos
Yes.
have become integral to the game. But was it always your intention for that to happen? Like, did you know, or did you just see players and think, huh, you can do that?
We still believe that it's not truly like an integral part of it. Definitely in the high tier skill level between players, it's something that people should be aware of, or would definitely greatly benefit them if they can utilize that skill. But the core aspect of the game is still about the combination between characters, what kind of team you have, what kind of equipments you have. So it's still one part of it. I'd like to think it's not too major, but most of those skills that are available right now, most of those manual things that players are doing in-game, we actually were aware that they were possible to begin with.
Okay.
We should probably explain that those are available for everybody rather than let everybody figure it out on their own. So that's another thing that we'll definitely work on. But those don't even have an official names to begin with. You know how some people call them differently, and it's it's a vague phrase flying around everywhere. So it's not even official, but we were aware that those were possible. And then there's sometimes characters that do things too excessively. Like early days, when the game first came out, blue sparking Pan was crazy. She would infinitely punch you, and it would just end you. She had no mercy whatsoever because of the functions that we were aware of, but didn't realize that Pan would be this crazy in that kind of environment. So stuff like that happens, so that we have to be careful. But most of the time we are aware that they can be done, and we appreciate that players pick them up, that some of those top tier players spread it around and explain it for everybody to be able to do and replicate. So at the same time, I want to definitely say, like you mentioned earlier, Alejandro, you still can't comfortably do them, right?
No.
I can't either.
Not at all.
I cannot. I can't. I tried. I had like you explain it to me. I had some of the directors explain it to me, and I'm like, nope, I can't do it. I'm just gonna chain it together and punch people.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, we want to make sure that play style is okay to do.
Ask stuff.
Can you raise the equipment hold limit?
Oh God.
Please, literally, as we were rehearsing for this, I'm playing Legends, and I'm like, oh, I can't continue this mission because my equipment list is full.
Functionally speaking, you guys know that every equipment has its own numerical value tied to it, right? You have to basically roll for it when you acquire it, or maybe when you reset it and then upgrade it again. Meaning each of those has its own data that it holds, and the more we allow for players to hold them, the longer the loading time gets, and the more stress it becomes on the player. So as much as we'd like to say, here's 1 million more slots, it's technically, like physically, not possible for us at this point. So we're trying to figure out ways to give it to you guys in a more realistic manner without stressing out the game.
So
no,
we can't raise it yet.
Not yet.
Yeah, you said yet.
Oh no, definitely it's coming. It is something that we're working on because, like you said earlier, it's something that kind of stops the flow of the game sometimes, when you have maximum and you use stamina, and then it's like, nope, you have max out. You want to sell them? It's like, yes, I do want to sell them.
Alejandro, what about you? What's your favorite equipment?
All right, I'm going to be real honest. When it comes to equipment, I need to be better about it. But my favorite one is the one with Super Saiyan God Shallot.
Oh, yeah.
Mainly, number one, biased. Number two, pretty art. That's it. That's the only reason.
No, I definitely have that too. Sometimes I choose my equipment just because, it looks pretty.
Yep, or it's gold, and it's like, oh man, I've run out of gold equipment. Guess I gotta equip the silver one.
I understand, totally understand.
Ask stuff.
Okay, I'm actually really interested in this one because I always think this is really cool. Would it ever be possible to have giant characters, ones who can physically grow, like either Namekians or Grade A?
That is one thing the development team also would like to see as well. It's obviously a big part of the series that is Dragon Ball, giant apes and just giant characters in general. But at the same time, we have our technical limits as well, mainly in terms of RAM, just memory, and also just the speed of the game. And if you haven't noticed, it's a 1v1 game where, you're in that field. How would we do large characters, I don't want to have to fight a large character and always stare at the character's stomach or maybe even more lower part of their body. I want to see their face. I want to see the entire, character that is the giant ape.
Sure.
But unfortunately, if we try to do that, the character that you're using is going to be really tiny. Things like that. We have lots of difficulties that we're trying to work with. At the same time, we want to make sure that as we move on with the game that is Dragon Ball Legends, we don't want to cut off players with certain smartphones. I've seen different games, different companies do this, but as they move on, they just cut you out. They just say, nope, we're not going to support this anymore. We try not to do that as much as possible. We want to make sure that we start off supporting everybody and we keep that main audience with us. So that is one reason it's been a difficult journey for us adding those large-scale characters. So as of now, I'm genuinely sorry, but I can't say that we have a set plan in adding those characters, but it is one thing that we're still constantly trying to realize, and it's not something that we forgot about or just simply given up on.
Ask stuff.
I've been asked this since day one, and I'm going to pass along the question because I also want to know. Mm-hmm. Are we ever going to be able to use Giblet and Zaha?
I mean, you can use Zaha in the story.
You know what I mean.
I do. I really do. Personally speaking, I would definitely like to add that too. But again, there's this vision that we're trying to go with in terms of the story of Dragon Ball Legends. And when that vision comes to fruition, hopefully that's when we'll be able to provide those characters. Hopefully.
So with your vision, what kind of skills would they use, if you're allowed to talk about them?
Well, that's cool.
That would be, well, one thing is I want to definitely make sure that if Zaha hits you, you bleed.
Because swords, makes sense.
It's one of those unique characters that you don't really see frequently in the Dragon Ball lore, where they use weapons. And honestly, we had tons of fun creating Zaha because first off, he's a swordsman and he's also a mage, and he doesn't even swing the swords with his hands. He wills them to be. So just that character in general, we definitely want to explore more of. And again, hopefully you bleed when you get hit by that character.
Ask stuff.
Are you planning more transformations for Shallot, and why is it Super Saiyan 4? I don't know how you're gonna do it, but you're right.
You added that. That's not on the script right there. I know I have that script right there.
It's on there. It's on there. It's in the script.
Right now, we're trying to think of ways of providing for every transformation that he has right now to be unique. So we're trying to focus on more ways of doing something similar to that. But at the end of the day, I understand what you're saying is more new forms, right? And if I had to answer yes or no, I mean, maybe not. It's not even a yes or no.
So you're saying there's a chance?
I mean, there's a chance for anything. Because we definitely want new things for Shallot as well, because we're biased too, honestly, because Shallot is our character, and it's very unique to Dragon Ball Legends. Honestly, at the end of the day, I mean, as much as certain people won't like it, we would love to see something that just goes beyond maybe what people are expecting, right? Something too strong for players to think of, maybe. But again, his transformation is very strongly tied to the story progression. So it will take some time, but there may or may not be something.
So being the voice of Shallot, what type of moves are you using in the game?
Most recently, because I just want to see him look cool, I'm using the Gogeta Blue move. I do love the Broly one. Just him shooting out of his mouth.
No, that one.
I've seen a lot of fans sent me this one, and it's really funny. I believe it's either Great Saiyaman or Gotenks move, and it almost looks like Shallot is dabbing, and I'm like,
Oh no.
y'all are reaching, but I'll give it to you. I mean, I'll give it to you. It looks cool. It's always interesting seeing all those moves. Sometimes I just go through the list, and it's like, what does this look like? What does this look like? And because I'm like, I'm sure some are better, or some have different ranges, or have better like damage. But I'm like, does it look cool?
Yes, definitely.
Ask stuff.
Will there be more Legends Road events?
Let me just start off and say there will be more events. There will be constant events that will try to provide as much as possible where players can acquire new characters that they don't have, you know. So in that sense, I hope you guys look forward to those new events, whether it be similar to the, map style event, or if it's a tower style event. So we have a few of those in plan as well constantly. In terms of Legends Road, that's a bit of a unique thing because they have their own tag, they have their own team. We're trying to focus on the characters that we have right now without adding too much into the fray because, as you might have noticed, we're Zenkai awakening the old ones. So we'll worry about some new Legends Road characters probably after the old ones have been awakened.
Ask stuff.
With that, we can go ahead and dive into this next question, which is, I think, very important, especially for all of the players on PvP.
Yeah, I was going to say, what measures are you going to be taking against cheating in the future?
We occasionally have the in-game notices where we notify players about, improper ways of playing the game, about cheating, about unfair advantages and such. I want everybody to understand and know that we post those occasionally, but that doesn't mean that's the only time we, work on cheaters, work against cheaters. I hope everybody understands that every week, every season, we always look into the players and look at the data we have to make sure that everybody is in a healthy environment so that they can play PvP without having to worry about it. At the same time, it's something of an ongoing war between, us and the cheaters that, unfortunately, I don't think will ever end because they keep doing crazy creative things, which I wish they didn't, and we have to one-up them, and it's an ongoing war. So we always have new ideas, new technology, new things that's going on. At the same time, this is actually a delicate topic in that if we explain too much, we're giving the cheaters ideas and ways of averting those methods of anti-cheats. So we can't give you too much details on that just simply because that will give those guys an advantage. We only penalize and ban players that we are 100% sure of. There will never be an accident, as unfortunate as some people may say. If they have been penalized, it is due to a solid reason. We will never impose anything on players that seem suspicious simply because we have to look at it from all angles. We have all these data in our hand as well. And then sometimes we don't have the data as well, so that's why we can't judge properly. So we're trying our best, and at the same time, we understand your sentiments, and we will try to let you know whenever things happen without giving too much info away.
But people might confuse the step moves that they've never seen before because they're like, what is happening?
That is a good point.
And it also kind of ties in with the connectivity as well because it is a smartphone app game, meaning many players will be either on their smartphone connection or Wi-Fi. And depending on where you live, where you are, what kind of connection you're using, it changes the experience drastically. That's another thing that we're constantly trying to improve as well. But at the same time, some people might feel that they've been disconnected on purpose or that the lag is due to the game. 99% it's not. It's usually the connection side. So, but of course that doesn't mean we're not gonna keep trying to improve. So I hope everybody understands that.
Ask stuff.
So this is something that I've done with friends and I've seen a lot of people do just for funsies. In PvP, will it be possible to have certain seasons that have restrictions? Like you can't have Ultra Instinct Goku, or you can't have I don't know, the powerful tag, just for examples.
This is something that I think I mentioned like last year as well, something that me personally I wanted to do, but haven't been able to do for numerous reasons. And I can't say that we're going to implement this in this time and so, but I will say that we have a special website prepared for everybody that they can use. It will be outside of the game, but it will have special tools for everybody to play the game in a different way, whether it be banning certain characters, or maybe the website will give you a special summon rule telling you what characters you can and cannot use and such. So the link will be available, I think, by the time this video is online. So I hope that everybody can try that out, play with their friends, or even maybe just try making some videos, watch other people do that. So that will be one major way of trying to play the game in a different way that you've never been able to.
So PvP players, make sure that you are spicing up your content, and that special site will be up soon.
Ask stuff.
So we know that Shallot is a light character, and a lot of the units that get manipulated are dark element characters. Are we going to see more of those, more of light? Because as far as I know, right now, Shallot is the only light character.
You guys have noticed that every character has their own element, their own color, right? We didn't want to tie it into any specific lore for obvious reasons, because, I mean, or else certain characters won't be able to get certain elements. In Shallot's case, we wanted to create a neutral color, mainly because we didn't want for players to think they didn't want to use this character because they would be weak against certain meta characters in terms of element. So we say light and dark, but at the end of the day, it's more like Shallot and story villains kind of element. So light will be definitely tied to Shallot uniquely. We have no plan whatsoever of increasing like available characters with that element, nor will we ever release a character with light element that people can use in PvP that's not Shallot, because then it would be a bit too strong, you know. At the end of the day, then people would just have 6 light characters in their party, and that would be bland and boring. So we don't want for that to happen. At the same time, we're definitely not, we don't have any plans of releasing dark characters available to be playable, mainly because, you know, it would be stronger against every other element, and that's another boring way to play, and that just ruins the sort of complex rock, paper, scissors kind of gameplay that we have going on.
Is there any dark character that really stands out for you?
I personally really like that dark element effect on the Majin Buus, mainly because it fits so well with the character to begin with, and it's something easy to understand, easy to recognize menace, and I just felt like that effect just in general is cool.
And how about yourself, Alejandro?
I liked it on, and I'm gonna get hate for this, Ribrianne.
Yeah, honestly, that was menacing in a different way.
Yes, it was.
Because that character, just genuinely speaking, is a very powerful character, just in terms of function. And then she's overloaded with that darkness, here to wreck you.
Ask stuff.
With that, ladies and gentlemen, there's still plenty of questions to ask. I think there's still about 1,690 questions.
Give or take, yeah.
Give or take. But I'm not sure if we're going to answer them all here today. But rest assured, the team does see it. And with that, we are going to have to wrap up. We hope you enjoyed the program as much as we did. In particular, I really like the talk about the advanced techniques. I'm always interested in PvP and about how the top tier players are thinking. How about you, Alejandro?
I like the question about Super Saiyan 4 Shallot.
Cut.
No, in all seriousness, I actually really like the question about the gigantic transformations. I thought that was very informative. And honestly, a lot of these questions helped me out a lot with just information about Legends.
You know, we do have the special guest, TOSHI, and of course, the voice actor, Shallot, Alejandro, but looking a little bit, I think I saw maybe another special guest. It looks like you have a couple of pets there.
A few special guests.
A few.
I got 3 of them. One of them's barking downstairs. He's adorable. I have one right here. If you would like, I could turn the camera, but he's just in his cat bed, so I don't want to bother him. And the other one's somewhere around here.
Oh, I see it.
Oh, there's the other special guest.
Ignore the dog toys on the ground.
Thanks for working with us from your home.
And finally, Toshi, is there any message you would like to give to the fans of Dragon Ball Legends?
We really appreciate everybody for participating, sending us all these genuine questions. 1,700. We were genuinely amazed. And I was personally even more amazed at the fact that the majority of those questions were proper questions, like genuine questions. I honestly expected more people to ask, can we have more chrono crystals and such, or can I have Gogeta Blue and things of that sort, which I did saw a lot of. There were quite a few of, there being 1,700 and all, but we really appreciate how everybody is into this game that is Dragon Ball Legends and have their own just investment into it. So we were only able to answer a few questions today, and I hope everybody had fun with it, but we will make sure that in the coming days, months, hopefully it won't take years, that we answer more of these questions and we get more questions, and it keeps updating so that we can be closer to you guys as a whole, and that everybody understands where Dragon Ball Legends is at as a community.
It sounds like there is a lot of content coming our way. Alejandro, with that, there are so many people that are huge fans of Shallot, and how do you expect that character to develop?
I'm watching you.
Might be a tough question to answer with Toshi
I was
here.
going to answer this question. I don't know. I want to give an answer, but I feel like if I say anything, it's just going to be edited out.
I don't know. Is it?
I hope things will go well for him. No,
God, that's so big.
I know. I can't. All right. I'm really looking forward to things to come, seeing how Shallot progresses, see if he can actually one day take on Goku, like actually be a match for a Goku, because I think that's always the nice parallel I've noticed, that Shallot is going through a similar journey as Goku, but it's not one-to-one, which is something that I was also scared of when Toshi brought it up earlier. But I'm glad it's different, and he's going through his own thing, and it's almost like a boot camp. That it's and I love that, and I really hope that one day the Shallot ends up being this rival for Goku, and I'm sure that some people are gonna be like, come on, bro, you're reaching, and I'm like, yeah, sure, but I think it would be something endearing seeing it come full circle. This young Saiyan who is technically older than Goku, from a different era, just like see the blood of the tainted and the blood of the defeated come together. I think that's just really cool, because there is that whole cycle going on between Goku, Giblet, and Shallot. I always find that fascinating, so I hope more of that develops, because I think that whole plot point of the blood of the defeated and the blood of the tainted is so fascinating, especially for the Dragon Ball universe.
With that, that's the end of the Ask Stuff section. But Dragon Ball Games Battle Hour will keep on running. In the next program, we'll have top players from around the world test all they know about Dragon Ball Legends and duke it out, an exciting quiz show. So next up, the Knowledge Showdown. Be sure to stay tuned. Alejandro, with that, could you conclude the show for us?
Don't miss the Knowledge Showdown.
Thank you very much. See you all later. Have a great day.